Have you ever spent, I don't know, hours and hours just memorizing vocabulary lists, only to feel like you're not really getting anywhere? That's a super common frustration. Well, today, we're going to look at a method that basically flips traditional learning on its head. It promises a way more natural and way more effective path to fluency. Let's dive in. So, let's start with this no, 3,000. What's that about? Well, according to our source material, this is roughly how many words you need to know to understand a whopping 95% of everyday spoken English. Kind of sounds doable, right? But the real question isn't what you have to learn, it's how you learn it. And that right there brings us to the main challenge we're talking about today. I'm calling it the 3,000 word problem. How in the world do you actually get this essential vocabulary into your brain without all this slow, boring, and, let's be honest, often really expensive methods that most of us get stuck with? And this really just lays it all out, doesn't it? On one side, you've got that familiar grind, the classrooms, the flashcards. Our source calls them slow and boring, and yeah, that feels right. But on the other side, there's this promise of a better way, one that's natural, totally effective, and actually works with your brain instead of against it. So what is this better way? What's the big secret? Well, the source suggests an answer that's actually surprisingly simple. It's a concept that might just change the way you think about language learning forever. And here it is. It's called comprehensible input. The whole idea, summed up in this really powerful quote, is that we don't learn by memorizing a bunch of rules or translating words one by one. No, we acquire language when we understand messages. It's all about getting input, listening or reading that you can actually make sense of, even if you don't know every single word. Now, I know that might sound a little abstract, so let's actually see what this looks like when the rubber meets the road. Our source gives us a perfect example to walk through. Okay, so just imagine you're watching a video. Someone points to a door, and you hear, "This is a door." Simple enough. Then they open it and say, "I am opening the door." See? You don't need a dictionary. The action, the object, it gives you all the context you need to just get it. And the example keeps going, "This is a dog. The dog's color is beige." Once again, the visual is tied directly to the new words. Your brain isn't sitting there trying to translate. It's making a direct connection between the sounds and the actual meaning, and that is the foundation of how we learn naturally. We also see how we can learn through comparison. By showing you two different patches of grass and using the words taller and shorter, the meaning becomes crystal clear just from the context. No memorization required at all. And one more. This is a car. There is someone inside the car. Okay, so maybe the word inside is totally new to you, but the visual makes its meaning completely obvious, right? Your brain is it's naturally filling in the blank. So here's the most important takeaway from all that. Throughout that entire little sequence, your brain was actively learning. It was picking up new words and even setting structure, not by studying, but just by understanding what was going on. The visuals, the context, and the repetition, those are the magic ingredients here. All right, so the theory sounds pretty great, but how do you actually do this? How do you put it into practice? Well, the source lays out a really practical 3-step framework that you can start using, like, today. So here's the system in a nutshell. You consume, you reinforce, and you memorize. Let's kick things off with the real heart of the method. Step 1, consume input. The goal here is not to study, is to find content that you actually find interesting, like vlogs or TV shows, where you can pretty much get the gist of what's happening just from the visuals. The secret is to make it fun, so it never ever feels like work. Next up, step 2 is all about reinforcing everything you're picking up. So after you've watched something, you can use cool modern tools, like a custom AI prompt, for example, to instantly get clear definitions, example sentences, and even little quizzes on the new words you just heard. It's a great way to lock in that new vocabulary. And finally, we have the 3rd step, which is optional, but oh man, it is incredibly powerful. And that's to memorize for the long term. This is a total game changer, especially if you don't get a chance to practice speaking very often. It's all about using something called a spaced repetition system, or SRS. Just think of it like a super smart flashcard app that quizzes you on words right before you're about to forget them. It scientifically embeds them deep into your long-term memory. So why bother with all this? What's the end goal? Well, the ultimate payoff is something way bigger than just having a huge vocabulary list. It's about changing the fundamental way your brain even processes the language. I mean, just look at these benefits. This whole method isn't just about learning words in isolation. By soaking up the language in its natural context, you automatically learn pronunciation, your listening skills get sharper, and you even absorb grammar without thinking about it. But the biggest prize of all, the real game changer, is that you stop translating everything in your head and you just start thinking directly in the new language. That is what real fluency feels like. And hey, if you need one more little push, check this out. The source makes a really bold claim. Using comprehensible input can be up to 4 times more effective than your standard classroom learning. Just think about that. That means a 15-minute video using this method could be worth a full hour in a typical class. It's really about learning smarter, not just harder. So let's just end with this thought. We're all taught that learning a language is about discipline, right? About memorization and just hard study. But what if that's not the whole picture? What if the real key to fluency isn't about how hard you study, but simply about how much you can understand? It's a pretty powerful shift in perspective, and it just might be the thing that unlocks your entire language learning journey.